Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Saturday of Zoom networking, and I'm really thrilled about today's call. I've got two of my closest friends on as guest speakers. I love these two people. Not enough I can say about them. They're out of Pace Morby Sub 2 community. They are rock stars in that community. Like most of us, they started out as real estate students, had become investors, and now are extremely successful entrepreneurs, highly recognized across the country. They have their own group for investors where they're teaching people how to build their business and how to just to do stuff and be active. They're leading by example, and they're helping people without asking for anything. Um, they are husband and wife. They are best friends. They have kids, raising a family. Uh, the lady of this family is running the family and the business at the same time, while Lance is out there bringing home the bacon. But I'd like to introduce my good friends, Lance and Jessie Riggen. How are you guys?
Woo, we're good, bro. Good. Thanks for having us on, man.
Thank you so much for that introduction.
It's great. Great
Yeah, no,
introduction.
you guys are awesome. As I said, you are, as you know, both of you know, you're two of my favorite people in the world. And when we talk about real estate investment, it's about surrounding ourselves with not only awesome people, but people that we like.
Yep.
We build our network by building relationships with people that we can have strong relationships with, and the best business relationship is a personal relationship, personal friendship. And I say it all the time, are these people I invite into my home? Most definitely. Lance and Jesse, you guys know you're always welcome. And Lance, brother, we got to get you out to a football game and
Yeah,
get Jesse to a Laker game. And
dude. Never
you
been to a
guys,
professional basketball game.
yeah, well, I got Laker tickets this year coming up, brother. So
Nice.
you guys come out. I got four tickets, fourth row off the floor.
Yeah.
I'm
Ooh.
slumming it at Crypto Arena. Hey, so really quick, for those that don't know you guys, where are you located?
Yeah, so we're in East Texas. We moved here from Oregon a couple years ago, man. It was time for a change. So we just up and left and started a whole new adventure here.
Yeah, you're not too far away, maybe a couple of hours from where I lived when I was in Mesquite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yep.
you guys are
not
just
that
Yeah.
far
east
at
of
all.
We're
that.
very east. East. We're like 2 hours east of Dallas. So if
In a beautiful
geographically,
area
if you
called
count
Tyler,
it.
right? Is it Tyler?
Yeah. Yeah, we're in the Tyler area. Yep.
So people are gonna go driving in the neighborhood now looking for you guys. So they can
Yeah, that's right.
hang out with greatness. Hey, really quick, your topic today is balancing love and business, and we'll talk about that most definitely. But really quick, for those that don't know you, what did you do before you became real estate investors? What
What
was
did you
your
say? Where did
what
you
were you
go?
guys in
Oh,
retail? Was it
yeah.
military? Was
We
it school? Was
we
it
did a lot of different things, man. You know some of it, but we had a granite tile business for almost 20 years in Oregon, Eugene. Go Ducks. But we also did all kinds of different stuff throughout that, endeavor. Several multi-level marketing businesses, including Amway and prepaid legal and all these things. And then we also were a part of a mentorship program that you were as well with Fortune Builders. That was
Mhm.
the very beginning of our kind of training
that
about
was the
10 years
beginning of
ago.
mine too, and
Yeah.
you guys have obviously grown or maybe outgrown them. I think that happens frequently. People get in an education program and we just get a little bit bigger than when we started, and it only makes sense to move on to better things. I can see your freaking multi-level marketing background, Lance, because you have such a great personality. You're so smooth, and everybody loves you. You
Thank
know,
you. I appreciate that, man.
yeah. I can't say enough about the two of you guys. Hey, so let's get right into your topic though.
Yeah.
Balancing business and love. I mean, there's a love and business. There's a lot of people that are doing real estate as husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, you know, uh, partners in life. It's not always about you know male female. There are guys doing business together. There are women doing business together. People that are in close relationships.
Sure.
Uh, it's not always easy. What's you guys take on that? I mean, where do you want to start? There are challenges we encounter. There are
Yeah.
ways that we solidify through the dark points and come out ahead of things. And I'm sure you guys have never had any issues. Your relationship's always been perfect.
That's right.
We've
Oh,
all
of
come through
course.
some hurdles, but I mean, share what's your take? Share away, guys.
Oh yeah. I'll start and I'll let my
Yeah.
wife top in. She's a little more camera shy, but which is funny, right? Because she's super social. Like everybody loves her. Like, she's
Oh
really
yeah, no,
she's a rock
Jess,
star.
Jesse
But
won me over, brother. She's awesome.
I'm married up. I get it all the time. I mean, a little too much, I think, sometimes. Like, okay, come on. I mean, I'm not that bad looking. No, but we've been in business shit, dude, almost 25 years. We've been this fall, we're going on 25 years together. And so, well, we've been in business for like 22, 23 years,
Yeah.
but it's been a lot of it's like being an entrepreneur, a lot of challenges, a lot of ups and downs, it's been a roller coaster ride. You know, right when you think things are going smooth, there's something that happens, a wrench gets thrown in your spokes, and next thing you know, there's some issues you need to work on, right? We actually worked pretty well for a good part of our relationship, and then 2020, when that hit, the COVID hit, there was a lot of tension, a lot of stress in a lot of homes, and we had our son was staying at home working, going to school at home, and he was like not well, it messed with him mentally, and so that put some strain on us. And there was also some additional stuff that we were going through that I wasn't aware of. and she had been building some resentment towards me. So we actually went through a crazy, crazy storm in 2020 in October, right before my birthday. And she basically decided that she had had enough of my shit and wrote a letter, had thought the whole thing out, read a letter. My travel trailer was gone when I got home, read me and the kids a letter, said, hey, you know what? I need some time away. It was wild though. She didn't really put it on me at all, which I thought was really odd. It kind of confused me, and then she just was like, look, I need 90 days, 90-day sabbatical, and gave the kids a hug, asked me for a hug, and I was in shock. And so I refused the hug, like an idiot looking back. And then she just walked out, and I had to get to work, man. Right. So that was, and I don't know I won't get too deep into this whole story, but it was a huge challenge. I decided immediately that I was going to fight for this woman because she had always been there for me and my kids, man. She
There you
had
go.
always been there, bro, for me. So I went to work like I do. I just get to work. I'm an action taker, man, and I fight. So I fought and I learned some things, and I listened to some audiobooks, sought out some counsel from some older friends of mine that I'd known for a lot of years, and kind of chose that path and ended up building that relationship back with her, that friendship. She ended up being gone for about 6 months, man. And, I worked it out. We became really good friends. And then she decided she wanted to come back home.
I think the hardest part of working together, whether it's, husband and wife, partners, life partners, is remembering where we started and maintaining that friendship and maintaining that original respect. And sometimes the business can fog that, and sometimes there's other activities in life can fog that, and just staying centered. Jesse, as you guys move forward in developing your business, did you find that both of you were working on the same thing, or did you find that one excelled in one aspect and one excelled in another? Did you kind of split responsibilities?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, Lance and I have always done that. We've also always had very different skill sets, very complementary. And at our last business, it was a good mesh, and we were able to move that over to real estate. He does a lot of the networking, a lot of the capital raising. I do a lot of the acquisitions. I'll do the underwriting. I'll do all the contracts. I've done TC work in the past, and that's similar to what we did at the granite business. He was the face of the company. He did a lot of templating. He had the skill set of the trade, and I did, a lot of the, bookkeeping, ordering, contracts. So it was a fairly seamless transition for us to move to real estate. I think the biggest thing was just learning, like you said earlier, how to stay centered. You know, when you're married to somebody that's so driven, they eat, sleep, and breathe success. And that is not me. You know, I'm a very good helper. I can come alongside anybody and work very well with them. But I like, you know, to sleep in some days. I like to take off early. I want to, you know, take a nap. And he is so driven, he'll go 16 hours a day.
I know the
so
feeling.
Trying to find that balance has been really important for us in this, you know. I joke around and say I'm on my second marriage with the same person, but this is, you know, our 2.0 life. This is our next version life. So we learned a lot that we didn't want to do last time.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, just looking at in my life, you know, I look back upon my mom, right, who is huge dynamic in my life and in our family. And most frequently, the wife, the mother, is concerned about everybody else. Is everybody else fed? Are they clothed? Are they taken care of? Are they hungry? Are their needs satisfied? And mom, the mother, the matriarch, generally always puts herself last, and everybody else is in front. And sometimes if the guy's out there pushing the business, he's not thinking about anything else. And so those two perspectives are almost opposite. Yeah. And so I think, you know, how do you guys find the middle? How do you guys make sure that Jessie, you're not always putting yourself second, and Lance, that you're not always putting yourself first? How hard is that, and how do you guys go about finding that middle?
That's a really good question.
That's great. Well, and that was a big part of the problem. Is you just touched on it. Was I was the boss. I was the boss at work, and I would come home and I was still the boss. I had to learn to separate that. You know, I was never a slob or a messy guy, but I wouldn't help out around the house at all. You know, and I had this kind of complex that I was barking commands at everybody. I didn't know how to separate the business from the home life. And so she started building resentment up towards me for a lot of years. And I didn't realize it. I knew she started getting really short. Then anytime we'd have drinks together, she started getting really weird and mean. And I was like, what the hell's going on? It's because in her head, she was pulling away, right? And I had no idea what was going on, like blind like most men are. You know, I like the subtle hints don't work well for me, right? I need to get smacked upside the head with a frying pan, basically.
I almost did that one time.
So do you guys, I mean, is there a need, and I'm not married, I've never been married, you know, I don't know if that works for me or against me, it probably works against me. But do you find need to make time? Maybe make, like, you know, things like a weekly date night or time to spend with one another, maybe like a monthly road trip to get away for a day or two. Is that part of the plan, or?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, date nights are very important. I mean, we spend a lot of time together, and we always have. And that is why some couples would never want to work together. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
Lance and I have, you know, been with each other essentially day in and day out for almost 25 years. And it does work well for us, but we need to have breaks from that. And we need to have date nights still, because there is so much business conversation that one need to make sure that we, you know, are still courting one another. Like that's one of what we feel is one of the most important things in a long-term relationship. We get complacent and we forget, you know, why we fell in love with the other person. We're not, you know, cherishing them. We're not making them feel desirable. Like, we're human. These are all things that don't just get swept under the rug once we put a ring on. It takes work.
Well, and you know, and I do have a few battle scars. I lost a finger, but other than that, we've been pretty good, you know. She did almost smother me to death one night before she left me.
That is
with a pillow, literally,
true.
dude. But yeah. So one of the things we did was we sold everything and moved out of state, across the country, dude, to Texas, to follow our family. And we can unplug here. We live on a bunch of property. You've seen my photos. I share them all the time. The sunsets and the we're surrounded by cows and farm country, birds and all kinds of cool stuff out here. So we can just literally unplug and go hang out on their back deck, and we're like completely unplugged from society. It's awesome. And it's been a transition. We're ready to move on now, get back into society, but that was a good reset for us. We one of the things like I wanted to touch on was the fact that I was so focused on success that I started losing sight. I heard you say something about that earlier. I was just so driven and going like, we need to get free, that I started losing sight a little bit.
A lot. I know when I started in Fortune Builders, Dan Merrill used to say, "What's your why? What's your why?" Oh, it's my kids, take care of my family, my parents in their older age, and couples that might not have their parents around or have any kids yet. Ideally, their why is their partner or having financial stability for their retirement. Obviously, to some extent, unless you're so focused, you might have lost sight of your why.
Mm-hmm.
But as you come back around, I guess you found your why again, right? It's your family, it's your partner, it's I remember for years, for decades, I've always heard the saying, a married man's only as strong as the woman beside him. He's not in front of her, she's not behind him. They walk side by side.
Yeah.
And it's so important to find that. Now that you've reattained this, because obviously you guys have been through a couple of hurdles.
Yeah.
What are some of the suggestions you might have for couples today? Maybe the wife's not yet in the business, or the husband's not yet seeing the value of the business. What are some suggestions you guys might have for someone who's in a relationship? Either they're working together and they're not losing sight of the why, which is maintaining the relationship, or the other partner in the relationship doesn't see the importance of what that individual's doing. I mean, do we need to take a step away from that and focus back on the relationship? What's your perspective on how some of the things people might need to do to keep things on point?
Great question. I'm going to start with that one because as the half of the relationship that was drugged through a few MLMs, kicking and screaming,
most of them,
by the visionary. I think that the most important thing is to not guilt trip or force your spouse to take this journey with you. It is really tough that they don't catch the vision, but love on them. You're not going to what is it, the saying, like you can't, a person convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So, show them your successes, continue to share it with them, but let them come into it at their own pace. And maybe it's never, but if they're still supportive, that's 100% more than other people are getting. And maybe slowly but surely they will want to come alongside of you, but they never will if you try and beat them over the head with it. That's
how do you know that, honey? How did you?
I heard a story once.
Yeah, whoops. I've made some big mistakes, guys. So lots of mistakes over the years. I dragged her in almost every endeavor that we've done.
Kicking and screaming.
But she's always helped me balance and like, hey, are you sure we want to do this? She gives me that balance a little bit, but she's 100% right. I pushed her too hard a couple of times, and she started hating the business, didn't want to do any of it, and that made me more upset. And we would fight and get into these arguments and stuff. And it took me a while to realize that she's on her own path, I'm on my path. A lot of the times our paths cross though, and we're in alignment on a lot of things, but not everything. And I couldn't accept that for some reason. I was very pig-headed, and driven. Like she said, I was so driven, I needed my partner on board, and I made some big mistakes pushing her too hard.
In the time that I've got to know you guys, not knowing where you started, I see your growth. I see the strength of your relationship. I see the love you guys have for one another. And that's such a positive beacon, for others that are working through challenges, others that are trying to make the business work as a couple. I know a couple other couples, another couple of sub twos, extremely successful, great couple, great relationship, Stephen and Carolina Allen, who also started in sub two like we did, or Fortune Builders like we did. Yep. There are a couple couples out there. There, Mylan and Carolyn Riley, Another power couple out there. So it can be done. It can be done. Lance, Jessie, looks like we've got a question here. Let me bring somebody on. Ricky Myers, you are on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
I just want to tell them congratulations because I've never really seen you guys two together. So I've always just seen you guys on a Facebook post or something, enjoying your lives. So just see you guys interact with each other. It's pretty powerful. So I look forward to, maybe getting my wife involved too. I'm not going to grab her in a headlock and pull her in, But
don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. We get on a Zoom together, man.
Yeah. So I definitely want to be more interactive with you guys, and I just love seeing you guys grow and you guys glow. So
thanks, brother. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man.
I haven't met Jessie yet, but I love you already, sister.
JJ, I don't know if I told you you hopped on a call before we started, but Ricky and I grew up in Palmdale, California together. His older brother and I ran the streets and did a bunch of dumb shit when we were young together. So, but yeah, I've known him for a long, long time, man.
Yeah, we actually got on a call this morning. Ricky and I did. We spoke briefly.
Nice.
Connected on a couple of our own commonalities. And as you and I have talked about, I grew up in LA here, in the hills of Hollywood, but also in the streets of Hollywood. Yeah. And it was for those that don't know me, it was a pretty dangerous place. Mm-hmm. And I had the good fortune to, get a secondary education after high school to help me get away from the streets, so to speak. But, my mom always used to regret the fact that I was in that environment, but I think my street education has helped me just as much as my academic education. Oh, and, sure. It allows you to get a better sense of the bad guys. You get a good feel of bad guys when you have that kind of background. Hey, Ricky, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. I look forward to you and I getting better acquainted as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Joe Gonzalez, you're on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Hey, Lance and Jessie. It's a pleasure to meet you guys. It's exciting just to listen to your story about husband and wife power couple, because me and my wife, I'm a new Gator, and my wife is a new TC as well. So we're just starting out our business, and we're fortunate. We're blessed to have been introduced to JJ, and JJ's been kind of guiding us along the way. But what would be your advice to a couple that just brand new, whether it be sub 2 or Gator or TC, right? And building this business, establishing this business, because we definitely want to succeed. We want to be in your shoes. We want to be influencers. We want to be helping out the community, and we want that sense of success.
Yeah. What you're doing right now is the best thing you can do. Getting on these calls, connecting with people, and, learning, taking the trainings and putting them into action, partnering with other people like us. We do a lot of deals. Awesome. We have a lot of our own real estate transactions. We just closed on a sober living facility in California. We do all kinds of stuff. So always opportunities. I'm a connector as well, so I'd be happy to hop on a Zoom with you and get deeper into it. But did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much for your kind words and congratulations. Yeah. I think that the community that you're in with JJ and in Gator will bring you a massive amount of value if you utilize it. And JJ, is clearly already teaching you that because you're on the Zoom today. I would recommend going deep instead of wide. There's a lot of shiny object syndrome out there that you could catch. So, find a niche, stay in that, and just dive deep.
110%.
Yeah, because if you just do things here and there and never scratch the surface, you just won't gain the success as if you get hyper-focused.
Excellent advice. Thank you.
Joe, I might throw into that a little bit. A lot of people, when they're new, they're looking for their niche right off the bat. It took me 2-3 years to find my niche. Mm-hmm. Right. My niche now is networking. I had no idea it was going to be that 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 6 years ago. But whatever your skill set is, whatever you're good at, it's going to evolve and find a way to weave you into real estate. So don't look for something that's not in your wheelhouse. Your wheelhouse will lead you to what your niche is. And,
awesome.
don't worry about hitting that right off the bat. What you need to worry about in the beginning is identifying people like Lance and Jessie. You need to identify who the good people are. You need to, and the only people you have to pick from, 90% of the community is invisible. Doesn't matter how successful they are. If they're not visible,
Yep.
you don't know they're there.
Yep.
Right. So only 10% of the community is visible. So that's what you have to look at. And look at the part that is visibly successful, and from there you need to start making an attempt to build relationships with people. But if you're not visible, the community won't recognize you. So you have to get good at building rapport, marketing yourself, letting people know who you are. Because if you're not, you're going to be another one of 100 people pulling on somebody's shirt sleeve going, Joe, help me. Joe, help me. And you know, we asked Lance and Jessie at the beginning of the call. They don't have time. I don't have time. But if you build the relationship first, people will make time for you.
Yes.
Build your network before you need it. Build your relationships before you need them. You know, Pace says all the time, your vibe is your tribe. Find the people that you resonate with. Find the people that resonate with you. But you cannot do that if you sit in the background.
Yeah.
You have to be proactive.
I want to add to that. Please don't reach out to people. Obviously, you want to send a message with a friend request, but don't be the person, and I know it, people don't know any better, but don't be that person that says, can I be a fly on the wall? Can I pick your brain? Right? Because like that, it's just not a good approach. You know, and I know most people don't know any better, but try to lead with a little bit of value. Just say, hey, I like what you're doing. Give someone a compliment, you know. I've been following you. You're doing great things. Here's maybe how I can add value to you and your team. Can we hop on a call? Anything. It doesn't even have to, you don't even have to like be, you know, so you don't have to be someone that I might need in my sphere, but just the fact that you're putting in the effort is going to make me want to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So,
you know, and Joe, you're going to find that in the beginning, a lot of new people say, I don't know anything. I don't have any experience. Why? I'm afraid to talk to people. Why are they going to want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Experienced investors like Lance and Jessie want to talk. Sure, they want to meet other experienced investors. But when they go into any kind of room of investors, they're going to realize some people are new. All experienced investors are open to meeting new people. Why? You could drive for dollars. You can cold call for them. You could fill administrative gaps in their business. So what they're looking for is not necessarily you be experienced. Are you nice? Are you pleasant? Do you speak well? Do you listen well? Do you maintain eye contact as you're talking to somebody? Are you cordial? Are you polite? Oh my God, this person can represent my company. They're looking at you for the person who you are, not necessarily as beginning for your level of experience.
Yep, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, Brian, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Hey, glad to see you guys here. My boyfriend and I are just starting out as well, so it's kind of fun to hear your story.
Awesome.
He had one question, like on one of your first acquisitions or your first acquisition, what if there are things that really stuck out for you?
Oh yeah, lots. It was about 10 years ago, but yes, the whole thing was creative. I had that vision and I had passion and went for it.
Yeah.
I found an off-market deal, but here's the thing. Before I went and found a deal, I found the money, right? I found an investor, the guy that owned my shop, my granite shop, actually. I'd been building relationship with him. You know, he's a handshake type of guy, old school dude, you know, boomer, beyond boomer, actually. But no, so I started building a relationship and I sat down with him one day and I told him what I wanted to do. And I had all the connections. So having a good game plan and a strategy now is going to be really helpful, knowing exactly what you want to get into, what asset class you're going into, not flailing around. So figure that out, get a game plan together, get the right connections, and then find someone who has the money and build, you know, start building relationships with them now. But when you do that, you can ask them to partner with you. You know, I just talked about this yesterday. JJ was on my newbie Zoom that I put together about mindset. And so the trick to this is not asking somebody for help or asking someone for money. It's presenting them an opportunity, asking them to partner with you, come alongside you. It's a whole different ballgame when you have that posture and the confidence in your ability and your skills, everything you're learning in the community. into action, so that's what I did. I asked my the shop owner, the building owner. I told him we had some we wanted to start flipping houses. We already knew all the contractors and had the skills, had done Fortune Builders a little bit, really didn't do anything yet, but I presented him with an idea. He said, I would do it if I were you. And then I asked him, what would you throw at the first deal? But I went around him like it was a MLM trick, right? Who do you know that would be interested in partnering with me, is what I asked him. And he said, are you okay now? I'm getting the tap on my leg. Am I going too long here or what? Am I? No. So, I think, we want to get into this stuff, right? That's I'm out of bounds or something. If I'm driving too fast, I get the hand on the leg. No. So anyways, but I wanted to, so he's like, I'd throw $100,000 at it. And I was like, whoa, right? And just threw it out at me. So I went and found a property, brought in a credit partner. I didn't have enough money to even fix it after the $90,000 to purchase the property, and then the closing ate up all that 100,000. So I had to get very creative on my very first deal. Was creative, So
Well, I just want to make sure that he answered your question because you were asking something specific about our first acquisition.
Yeah.
Well, so if anything just stuck out for you, that was, I don't know.
Yeah.
He basically did that whole deal and then came to me and was like, we're going to flip a house. I, found the house. So which was amazing because I wanted to do it. At that point, I had no clue. So he definitely, ran that one through to the finish line. He was nice enough to let me come and help clean up trash because it was a crap house. So, he left some for me too. What stuck out with that one is that was the property that showed us how real estate can change your life. Yeah. So it wasn't really at the beginning and it wasn't in the middle. It was when we were done and we got the paycheck and we're just like, wow, we made, this much money. I think it took maybe 6 months. Was it 6 months?
Yeah, 6
or
months.
8 month
yeah,
flip?
6.
And it was life-changing for us because we had been, self-employed for a long time. And it was very hard work being self-employed and trying to get ahead. So
I've never seen a chunk of change like that though.
Yeah.
All at once. It was like $40,000 our cut.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so my next question is, you guys said you're moving on to the next place. Now, is that outside of Texas? And where?
No, we're probably going to stay
focusing on.
We're going to stay here until our son graduates, most likely. So maybe just into Tyler. We're in Bullard. It's a little 3,000 population, but we're not sure yet. We might move closer to Dallas because we've built a huge network here. We're the local East Texas leaders, so it'd be kind of weird to move. Yeah. We might stay here for a few years. We're really not sure yet.
Yeah, I think we've zeroed in on our focus is sober living in San Diego area and then co-living in the Tyler area. We have a couple other properties peppered throughout, the U.S., but that's where we're focusing. My dream would be to do like gypsy van life.
We're gonna do that. I want to do that too. The R&B life. That's
we'll spin the globe and drop a pin, and that might be the next place we go.
That's part of the 5-year plan.
Yeah, nice.
Traveling the country.
We're in our RV right now on the side of the road in Redding at a truck stop.
Nice. Redding, that's a fun place to be.
Redding? Oh,
there you go.
You just passed by Mount Shasta. I love Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
It's beautiful over there. Hey guys, I just want to say one thing before we get on to the next question. We got a couple more of the questions lined up. Mm-hmm. As you and your boyfriend move into this journey together, it will be important for both of you to interact with others, both of you to be visible, both of you to network, because you're going to relate to other people that he won't. Right? He will relate to people that you want. So I've seen some couples go, no, my wife doesn't network here. No, my husband doesn't network here. I take care of this stuff. But you're cutting off your market at that point in time. Lance is very visible in one regard, but believe me, when you see them together, Jessie is not invisible.
Yeah.
Jessie is very much the beacon of light. There is no taken away from her contribution and what she brings to their team. So you need to keep that in mind for yourself as well. As I don't know if your boyfriend is extroverted or introverted, but it's important to help one another grow equally in every regard. Just keep
Yeah,
that.
we're actually coming back from community camp right now, and I was shocked because he was like the networking king when I was there, and I had no idea that that was in him. And he was like, "Oh, I met this guy. You got to come over and talk to him. I met this other couple. You got to come talk to them." And I was like, "What? Who is this person?" And
Nice.
I made a ton of connections just from him. And I was like, "Wow, I think I found your superpower. I'm
Well,
bringing you everywhere."
I'm going to say two things. Introduce him to me. Let me show you guys, of all these people you've met, how to squeeze the juice from the orange.
Yeah.
Right? You want to meet the people, but now that you've met them, only 10% of the people are visible, 90% aren't. Once you meet the 10%, only one out of 10 people you meet are really going to bring you value.
Yeah.
Not all 10 people, not all 50 people, not all. So how do you squeeze the juice from the orange? So why don't we connect on another call? I'd love to meet your boyfriend. Let's get him in the group and get you guys up to speed, and you'll be following Lance and Jessie as a power couple.
Great. He says
Very
he's on
good.
board. Thank you so much.
Susan,
Appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much, Susan. Mr. Brandon Potter. Love this young man. You're on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Hey guys, I'm new to Gator as of last Thursday. Hadn't quite finished the onboarding when I hopped on your call yet, Lance. I will be reaching out to you soon after I finish. I think it's the Snappy Start in 1.0 is when I'm supposed to reach out to you guys.
Nice.
But my main question is, being active duty Air Force and wanting the full 20 length career, and as well as trying to balance that with this and my girlfriend who's now moving in after having bought the house, and trying to help her and keep her accountable with putting herself in a position where she can keep me accountable. What way should I go about that and being able to balance her life with her kids, which could potentially live with us pending, personal matters? What strategies would you suggest?
You want to take this
Yeah.
one?
Well, first I want to say thank you for your service. My whole family.
Thank you.
Air Force,
I appreciate your support.
Yeah, absolutely love our military.
Yeah.
So my thoughts after hearing what you said, since you do want to go the full 20, you're going to have to figure out how far and how quick you want to take real estate. You already know what your set goal is, and I respect that. Obviously that's full time. You're going to have the remaining time to sleep and spend with family and do real estate. And so it's figuring out, what you can do and really, focus on that. Don't obviously neglect sleep or neglect your family, but you'd be surprised how much you could get done. With that, you just need to let her know, hey, this is very important to me that, an hour a night or half a day on Saturday that I can really focus on real estate, because this is going to help supplement, the long term, the real estate, the Air Force is for now, but just really stay consistent with it, because you're going to be pulled in a lot of different directions, and it might take you a little bit longer to gain traction since you do have other things going on in your life, and that's okay. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So just have those conversations with her. Let her know how she can hold you accountable. Set your hours and just keep going.
Yeah, and depending on what you want to focus on, there are ways that you can get involved without having to be present. Obviously, the easiest way is private money lending and private money partner and that kind of thing. If you're not in that position, that's fine. But we can always, if you find deals, we can always squat up with you and help you, walk you through deals, and get you some of it just all depends. We can split it. If you're doing a lot of work, we can give you, so there's all kinds of different things that we can do to train you taking action without having to take a ton of action and sink a ton of time into it, but you will have to sacrifice, obviously, and put time in.
The education, so that what's going on is the most important.
It's crucial to take action while you're doing the training, though. Start doing some things. Otherwise, the training's going to be all for nothing. It'll be in and out quickly, right?
No, for sure. I just started the first video for Snappy Start. So working my way through that. Once I get to the, getting the line of credit, I'll be working that. I have my meeting with Prime Business on Monday at 6 in the afternoon. So that'll, the whole LLC starting and all that. But yeah, awesome. I greatly appreciate the insight.
Wonderful.
Absolutely, man.
Happy to help.
Brandon, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks,
It's
buddy.
been a pleasure for me to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better. And brother, I think you got a good future in front of you. I really do.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Thanks,
You're a
JJ. I
young,
appreciate
you're a young man. Your young man's got your head screwed on straight, and just keep your nose in the right direction. Surround yourself with successful people. Focus on the relationship, and those people will take you there. Rob Howdigy, you are on with Lance and Jessie.
Hey,
What's your question, Rob?
Hey, Jesse, Lance, how are you? Yeah,
Good, man.
right out. 57 years young, baby.
Nice.
Love it.
But hey, thanks for sharing your story. It was really inspiring.
Thank you.
Wow. I mean, you guys really took me back. But hey, a couple of things. I came into Gator as of June, sub 2 in July. Then I met JJ, got connected to him. Quite frankly, I think I just manifested my way to him. God led me to him. And it's changed my life. Absolutely. So, you know what? I just really wanted to thank you for your story, introduce myself because, I'm living a life of visibility. And like I said, I really want to connect with you guys on a personal note after this to really see what value we can bring to each other to really help me platform my business. Because like I said, it's really about the connections, it's about the friendships. So I live by just making friends on a daily. And if we have commonality in our path, it's awesome. If we don't, hey, I made a friend today. So,
Yeah.
I'm just learning as I go, and I'm just getting educated. Right now, I've been gifted an opportunity of being a lender, an affiliate lender. So I'm referring to myself as Money Rob. So, and then on my left side, my Astro Blaster is about to launch next week, which I'll be starting to concentrate on investing. So everything's totally exciting for me. I couldn't be more thrilled. But once again, it's one foot in front of the other for me, and it's just about making friendships.
Absolutely. Sounds great, man. I'd be happy to connect with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and absolutely. I'm SoCal based as well. So you and JJ talk about running the streets in Hollywood. Man, I remember in Pasadena, it's where I was born and raised. And I remember when Old Town, which everybody flocks to now because it's the prime time to go hang out. I remember when the devil pimped that town out, man. And we rode down there in our bike. We rode in our bikes in the dark, and it was just like, woo, we never wanted to go down there. So been there, done that. Been there, done that. We probably have a lot in common.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Lance, Jesse, Rob is in the short time, in the couple months he's been in the group, he has taken and run with my advice on networking and building his network like I've seen maybe only one or two people do in the last 6 years.
Nice.
And he's made himself visible. He's built a lot of relationships. And obviously, and I tell everybody that if you guys are watching, on the call, you're watching on YouTube, as you surround yourself with people that become your friends, this will impact your confidence because you have more people you can call and talk to and get an answer to your question. And the more confident you become as a real estate investor, the more successful you're going to be. There is no other option. Rob, I'm really excited to watch your path, watch your journey, and continue to watch your growth, my friend.
All right. Well, I appreciate everything you're doing for me, JJ. And I'm a strong believer that God places us in certain positions, and you're guiding me on my path, brother. And I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. I'm glad I'm able to contribute to what you're doing. Thank you. Thanks again for joining us, Mr. Akinwale Akinusi. How are you, young man?
Sure.
You are on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Oh yeah. First of all, I want to appreciate both of you guys for coming out, and this is my first time actually meeting Lance and Jessie, and so I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I really learned a lot. But my questions is around time management in regards to. I think it's a little bit different from what you guys spoke on, but in a way, for me, I'm new to real estate. I got joined sub to about 2 months ago. But I've been having a lot of stuff going on with my schedule. I'm also in the military, so I'm a reservist. It's a part-time thing for me, but I'm also in school. I'm trying to get a 9 to 5 job. I'm preparing for a certification, I'm also door knocking on a daily basis. So I have a lot of things going on. So for me to network and get to meet people and build up that connection, eh, I don't really have enough time to do that. So by the end of the day, I believe you mentioned it's all about a relationship. You have to build that relationship.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important, but I just don't have to, I think the time management is just not there for me to like, where do I put this in? By the time I plan my day out, everything is gone. I basically still, like you said, still need to go to bed. I need to sleep. And already I sleep for 6 hours a day. So how do I fit this in? How do I, get more efficient with the time management?
Yeah, I'd like to talk on this a little bit. A big part of it is, I mean, you sound busier than a lot of people, but there's almost always some time you can carve out. You're going to have to make some sacrifices if you really want this to work. You're going to have to figure out what that is, though. Getting up an hour earlier every day, going to bed an hour later every day. Any drive time that you have, you can be making phone calls, lunch breaks. Literally, like, you just have to make it work. We ran 2 businesses and we're 14 to 16 hours a day, and we just made it work, man. While everyone was at home watching TV for 4 or 5 hours a day, we were working and had our kids in sports. And, we made those sacrifices because we wanted a better future for ourselves. And that's just what it is. And like I said, I'm not saying that you're not doing a lot. You sound like you're doing a lot and for a lot of good things, but you can find the time if you make it. You have to make it, dude. That's just all there is to it. I want to recommend a book to you called Magic Miracle Morning. There's a few different versions, but Hal Elrod, he specializes on making time, right? Getting up earlier, and it's a really, really phenomenal book. He talks about successful entrepreneurs and how most of us get up earlier every day than most people and have basically a routine before most people even wake up. We've already gone through a whole routine in the morning that sets us up for success. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there to you. It might help you a little bit. But that's kind of all I have for it for you, because you're kicking ass. So I'm like, man, most people say, oh, I have 3 hours of drive time a day and I just don't have time to do anything. And I'm like, whoa, what?
On that note, Lance, in LA, as you know, having lived here and had visited here, everything's really spread out, and I'm driving to my properties, which can be an hour apart from one another, apart from my home. And I can tell you what I'm doing frequently. I use my driving time to make phone calls.
Yep.
And I will plan out the people. I will plan out the 2, 4, 5, 10 people I need to talk to.
Yep.
And not all of them are going to be available, but I'm going to be knocking out those calls. Some people are getting to know people. Some are following up with something. But I maximize my driving time. Again, I build my business by building relationships. I build relationships with the newer investors by seeing how I can help. If you're a new investor, how you can help anybody, right? But the big thing when you're new is to not chase the deal, but chase a relationship and find people that you resonate with. Because the people that you resonate with are going to like you for you. And when they like you for you, that's when they're going to help you. I've already given your number to Brandon Potter, who's on the call, because both of you guys are military. I'm going to connect you to other people. There are other people in this group, my group, that are military. You guys have a commonality. Help one another. Get to know one another. You don't even have to be out of the same branch of the service. But you have a commonality of service. You have a commonality of real estate investment. You have a commonality of, me, Lance. So let's help one another. That's what this is all about. You cannot do this by yourself. And if you involve yourself in Lance's group, you involve yourself in my group, you will never be alone.
Okay.
And why don't you and I catch up a little bit more and let me see what I can do to help you on your way as well.
Sure.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Great question. Jessie, Lance, do you have anything to follow up with him at all before we... Anything at all?
Thank you so much for your questions, and I'll thank you personally again for your service. Like you are on the path, my friend. You are on the path. So just stay steadfast.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Even if you can only get 20 minutes in a day, just do that every day. It doesn't have to be. If you do 20 minutes every single day, you're going to do more than a lot of people, man. Trust me.
Yeah. True.
Consistency is the key to this. So
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
yeah,
Exactly.
Stay the course.
Right.
Thank you so much again.
All right. Thank you very much.
thanks, bro.
We've got Mark Chang with us from Southern California. His camera can't come on, but he can ask a question. Mark, what's your question?
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying, you guys are doing the sober living in San Diego. Would love to follow up with you about that and how to support that. Or maybe be able to work with you guys on that one. What would be next steps?
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, construction is almost complete. We're going to be filling beds in less than 2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
That's a 30-day from close to beds getting filled. We've got a rock star team in San Diego, a 30-year operator. Our other partner, we have 2 partners. So the other partner is a general contractor. So he jumped in the day after closing, had the framing done. In a week, we're ready for paint. So this is the team that you'd want to work with. But
yeah, we're doing some big things.
Yeah.
We would love to hop on a
just
call
scratching the
with you
surface. We plan to grow this leg of our business pretty solid, like down there. So there's a lot of opportunity. We're looking at single and battered women shelter, as possibility for one of the next ones, and getting parolees in. We're already talking to the DA, the parole board. So we're under a nonprofit already. We're forming our own nonprofit. James, our operator, has a government grant writer. So there's a lot of big opportunity in this. And so I'd love to talk to you further, offline or whatever on a Zoom call. We can dial in on some things, but
yeah, that would be incredible. I mean, I'm boots on the ground in San Diego. So yeah, and this hits really close to home. Sobriety and being able to help others get on their feet. So yeah, let's reach out to you guys privately, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mark, Jesse, Lance, I've actually sent a text message connecting all 3 of you guys.
Thank you so much, because I just peeked and I don't have Mark's
I have Mark's contact info. I've connected with him.
I just make sure Jesse's in the loop. All 3 of you guys are connected. Mark, thank you so much, my friend. We're going to move on to the next question.
Thanks,
Perfect.
Mark.
Thank you, guys. No problem.
Vara, you are on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Hey, Lance and Jess, how's it going?
Hey, good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. I don't know if you guys remember me. We have spoken a few times before regarding a couple of deals, and we were actually also did some deals before indirectly with Beach Mountain Holdings. I have been a wholesaler. I have been a wholesaler. You guys are on our buyers list for a while.
Mandeville. We almost bought your house in Mandeville.
Yes.
I remember you. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yes.
Almost working with you, but
and with Lance, I believe we were talking about some duplexes in El Paso a year ago.
Right.
Anyhow, so I wanted to ask, how did you guys get started in co-living? And could you guys walk us through the process? Especially how do you guys automate this without being very hands-on with the property management?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, a huge challenge. There's been a lot of work, a lot more work than I expected. We're actually looking to partner probably with Pad Split here. They just opened in our local market as a main market. But I can tell you some of the challenges.
Yeah.
Marketing, getting tenants in, and neighbors. Those are the 2 biggest challenges that we've had so far. If you have a crazy Karen neighbor, you're going to have a really hard time getting potential residents into the property because they'll scare them off. So making sure that there's no HOAs, is huge. Really doing your market research on rent rates, room rental rates, growth, checking the crime in the area, making sure it's close to transit. That's really important. City transit, making sure it's close to some large employers, right? Yeah. Especially like traveling nurses, stuff like that, transient workers. You're going to want to be close to some of those big operations. That's the probably best advice I could give you. And then having house rules in place. And, I would say, me personally, we went the route with not furnishing the rooms, because I'd had a handful of other operators that I'd obviously been connecting with before starting our own, who would only furnish half, or some would furnish all the bedrooms and then have to take the furniture out because at least half of the residents would have their own furniture. So that's kind of a balance as well. But there's been a lot of challenges for us. Getting the rooms filled has been difficult, to be honest with you, on our first two.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because we went into markets that weren't saturated or really open with co-living in general.
Yeah.
So it is a new concept in the areas that we're in. We get a lot of people, you're a scam,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But I think next time I probably will do probably 4 or 5 months holding costs. One of our properties took almost 5 months to stabilize to where it was paying its own debt. And unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, he passed away.
Mhm.
So, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So if you ask us how we, took steps towards being more hands off, circle back with us in six months. We're not quite there yet. We're still learning. And we wanted to learn, maybe not this way. We wanted to know more of the ins and outs of it. We're definitely getting that crash course. But, Pad Split did just open up in one of our areas. So that's kind of exciting.
Well, our only area now. So we dialed in. We learned enough to where we were like, okay, we made a mistake on the first one. The area wasn't great. The growth is in decline. That was a huge mistake. It was a good deal. The second one was a good deal.
It was that.
The second one's in Indy. We're having a lot more. We would have probably 2 or 3 more residents in there, but we had a neighbor scaring people away.
Karen.
Yeah, but that being said, though, we know now, and we're dialed in just to one market, so we can scale and grow just here in Tyler. It's a 1.5% average growth for the last 3 years here. A lot of industry, a lot of traveling nurses, huge medical hub. So, and we're right, 20 minutes away. So we can build a solid team here, like JJ and we've been talking about building those relationships here. So that's where our focus is now.
Right. So, have you guys explored using property management companies that will work with co-living?
Well, and that's a
tough.
good question. The companies that I have reached out to in our Lake Charles and our Indy property, they will not do rent by the room property management.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You
that
almost
has
have
been
to
difficult.
train somebody.
What about local realtors? I've noticed local realtors are someone that can help you guys assist finding tenants and stuff a lot of the times when property management companies can't.
Yeah, I mean, I could potentially reach out to an agent.
I can tell you what
I
we've
just
done
haven't
though.
done that yet.
We hired a VA to handle the influx of the applications and the communications. We put them into our CRM, so when someone responds, he's communicating with them, or we can jump in too. We can see all the messages, so what I found, I just talked to, because we've been struggling a little bit in that class, that asset class. I've been reaching out to other co-living operators who have been experienced. I just got on a call a few days ago with a really well, who has a really nice co-living portfolio in Fort Worth, Texas. He had some really valuable information for us. He goes, look, I get my properties. He's got like 5 or 6 now. He told us he gets them filled in within less than a month, 30 days or less. He goes, meets them at the property, closes them, brings the contract, right? Genius.
Yeah.
So I think we've been way too lax. So we've been retraining our VA and saying, hey, let us close these guys. When we get a hot lead, they walk the property, we will call them and close them on it, because it's the same thing as selling a property, right? You want to close them on renting your place, right? So that's a huge piece of value right there, that in and of itself. But like she said, a lot of property management companies, they won't touch it. So you'll have to do a lot of digging or hire Pad Split and get into one of their markets,
I've heard other challenges with Pad Splits though. Like, for example, if you have equity tied up in Pad Split, no lender will let you take a HELOC on it, or easily let you do a refinance on it. These are some challenges that I've heard with Pad Splits. and other ones is most of the time when you're doing this with pad split, most of the cities won't allow the additional rooms and stuff. It will be unpermitted, so that could result in some code violations and stuff like that. Have you guys heard about these challenges?
Well, yeah. I mean, not through pad
Building?
split, but it's the same thing that we've encountered. Yeah, there's zoning issues.
For the city, yeah, city problems, yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely encountered them through construction or through, the neighbors, bitching. Oh, this is a single family neighborhood. The cool thing is at least with pad split directly, which I know is separate from co-living, but can kind of be, one and the same depending on what you do. Mark Cuban just invested into pad split recently in helping with their growth because a lot of these cities really need it. So
well, it's the trend.
I don't love pad splits fee structure. It was actually the reason why I was turned off to them for a long time.
Yeah.
But with our Indy property, because we've encountered some of those issues with the zoning and the strict regulations on, group homes and sober livings in Indy, which was kind of our alternative path if they didn't allow co-living, at least pad split is going and they're almost lobbying for, they are affordable housing. They're basically, they'll send their attorneys and they'll go to the city and say, this is a huge need. You invited us here. Why are you stopping it now?
That's the biggest thing.
That's probably one of the reasons why, at least in Indy, we'll go with it. Because these cities desperately need affordable housing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You're seeing the need for it, right? That you can't. A lot of these big cities that they can't build anymore. There's no more buildable land. So, what's the best solution? Why would you stop someone from helping the community out? It makes no sense.
Yeah, workforce housing.
There's going to be lawsuits, and I can foresee a lot of big issues and big battles with pad split co-living operators in the cities, city council and stuff like that. It's already happening in Fort Worth, actually.
How much would you guys budget for the pad split renovations typically on a property?
It just depends. Like our Indy property, we converted from a 4.2.5 to a 10.3.
Wow.
So, and the cost of labor there is a lot less. Yeah, it's the cost of labor there is a lot less than it would be like in the West Coast, for example.
Yeah, that was a $40,000 remodel, and that included interior paint.
We had to add egress access to the basement.
Yeah,
like it was quite a bit of work.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of work. This guy's knocked it out in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Glenn Partridge, you're on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Well, I want to validate what I personally have about 54 years of marriage experience. My wife has about 53, both on our second marriages, and everything that you guys are doing together is spot on. Just want to validate everything that you've done, everything that you're saying. Also, on a separate topic, I'm a retired chiropractor, and since I retired, I've been teaching the 12-step addiction recovery program in the jails. And I'm very interested in what you're doing with the sober living program. I know that there's somebody else in the sub-2 group that is also in this big in this area. I don't have his name off the top of my head. Shame on me. I don't network strong enough, I guess.
Yeah, Chris.
Looking forward, the shared living and the sober living is going to be a huge market in the next 10, 20 years moving forward.
Yes,
great need. So anyway, just wanted to put in a word of validation. I absolutely can testify that everything that you're saying is true and accurate. And God bless you two. Hope you have a nice, long, happy life together.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate those words. Very cool of you.
And Glenn, at the end of the call, they will be sharing their preferred way for everyone to reach out to them. So hang tight from the end of the call. We'll let you know the best way to contact Lance and Jessie. And again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much. We all, guys, we're always looking for more private money partners, lenders who want to, go into business with us. I just wanted to say, in the sober living, the transitional housing industry is much needed. There is not nearly enough operators, not nearly enough people putting their heart into this and helping people out. There's so much money and access to resources to help these people who are struggling to transition to a better life. And people talk about it all day long, but they don't do it. Nobody's doing anything about it. There's very few people. We need more people to help these
What's
people.
crazy is, we have a huge problem in Southern California, and I'm wondering if there's a way that we could help some of the homeless, some of the mentally ill, some of the people that have nowhere to go. I'm going to follow up with you guys because there are people that need help, and not everyone has the right mindset and the right goals, and putting others first. So I think what you guys are doing is amazing. We're going to take two more questions, and we're going to call it a day. John Rucci, you are on with Lance and Jessie. John, what's your question?
Well, thanks for calling me a young man, first of all. Hey, Lance and Jessie. Thank you for sharing the story, guys. I really resonate with it. We went through really rough times, me and my wife, during the same year. I think that was the worst year for the whole humanity. It was a roller coaster. We had our daughter that came in. She was born right in the middle of the pandemic. And just to give you an idea what happened, like right a month after that, my mother-in-law passed away. So yeah, and we're still, building up from that. We're coming back. It's tough. So you guys, it's an inspiring story. I guess my question is, me and my wife, we are both coming from W-2 world. Now we have a 9-year-old and then a 5-year-old. And we are at that stage that we're trying to focus on self-development. As you see your kids growing up and you're trying to make it happen and be there for them and spend the time with them now because the demands are changing. And, W-2 is not what you need at this phase. I'm a sub-2 and a gator. I am somewhere in between introvert and, like both. So I try not to get involved with people, but in the meantime, once I get going, I find myself getting more comfortable. But it's hard for me to make that because I don't want to be too close to people. And somehow, going to like local, because I do like in-person interactions versus social media. I've been away from social media for many, many years. And I'm forced now to be in social media because of the sub-2 and Gator and everything else. So I'm learning that aspect too. And as I go out there and I talk to people, I see myself being attracted towards being a connector and networking. What is it that I should focus on because you said you're a connector, right, Lance?
Yep.
Yeah, and I got JJ as well, that he's a networking. What do you guys recommend that I should focus on? I don't know if I'm making sense what I'm saying here.
Yeah, no, I would kind of, it sounds like there's some kind of block there for me personally. That's the first thing I thought of, some mental block. Why is there a trust issue with people? Were you, not to get too personal, but were you hurt by somebody? And is there a reason
yeah, plenty of hurt. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to get myself. So basically, I'm trying to get myself out of that. I'm in my 40s now, so I come to realize, I wasted half of my life trying to blend in, being the person that I'm not.
Sure.
I'm coming from the Eastern European, area.
Yeah.
Their family is a big thing. When you grow up as a kid, you like pretty much everybody has big families, cousins, brothers, and everything else. I was the kid, my father was in the army, so I was the kid who was far away from the family. And I was the first kid. My brother was a lot younger than me. So now, you trying to blend in and be the strong guy by trying to make people to like you because you don't have the cousins behind you. You don't have the big brother. So, it's easy to get bullied. And I spent most of my most of my life being that person. But now I see, I just wasted all the time.
I can relate. I'm the oldest of 4, so I'm right there with you. I was that guy too.
Yeah, and then you're like, what the hell? I live my life. I'm living for myself. I'm not living for the world. Because I had the experience. You're the good guy until you're not anymore. Or like, just somebody, okay, yeah, he was a nice guy, but that's about it. So
Yeah.
you're the only one person who's going to be there for you, nobody else.
Yep.
No
that's
matter
right.
what you've done. A lot of people will take that as a weakness. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes, about half of your life to figure that out. But hey, better later than never, right?
Yeah, or your wife leaving you. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. No, she's still here. She's supporting me.
Oh, mine left me. That's why I'm referring to
Hey,
my situation.
We were right there, brother.
Had to
That's
figure it
why I'm
out.
saying we resonate. And
Yeah. So I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
If you let me answer the question. You said that you weren't comfortable really reaching out and connecting with people. I like to tell people all the time, my favorite quote, F your feeling. It doesn't matter what you feel like doing. You got to do what you got to do to make it happen. So you got to get over that, man. You got to push yourself. You got to get uncomfortable over and over and over again. And that's why JJ was referring to my network marketing. There's a reason why I'm good at what I do is because I pushed myself. I'm naturally an introverted person and nobody believes me, but I'm an extroverted introvert. I was a loner in high school, like, dude, hung out behind the high school more than in the high school, right? With my stoner buddies. But like, dude, I had to push myself for years to get to where I'm at. Years, dude. 20 years, literally, over and over and over and over again. So I just want to encourage you to just push, don't listen to the voices. Don't let that fear and doubt, in your ear.
Oh.
No, don't buy into that shit. Just
I'm
do it.
fighting
Do it
it
anyway.
constantly. I'm fighting it. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still get it too, man. I get it all the time. I get the bullshit creeping in, oh, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? You're an imposter. People don't want to follow you. They don't like you. They're talking shit about you. We all deal with that stuff, man, all the time. I go, wait, I recognize it and I go, hey, that's not me. That's something else. That's something else trying to break me down, beat me down, so, but
yeah,
so important, dude, to just push.
Yeah, I think my mine is more, instead of listening to that voice that you're not good enough, is me fighting against myself, basically, for being that person.
Yeah.
So kind of like punishing myself that way.
John, if I could jump in here for a second.
Yeah.
Lance is dead right about pushing yourself. I understand what you mentioned when you talk about being alone, being away from your family, being the oldest one, having to pave the trail.
Yeah.
I grew up as a kid that stuttered horribly for years. I was bullied for years, picked on, many years. My vehicle out of that was sports. Become an athlete, to become a competitor, become a gladiator, can become a warrior. That's how I find a lot of my self-worth. But in real estate, we can't do this by ourselves. We just can't. And it's important that we surround ourselves with people that can help us. When I started Fortune Builders, paid $30,000 to sit down, $30,000 for 3 incremental programs. I was $60,000 in before I was 2 months in. I wanted help. I couldn't find it without paying for more coaching. And I wanted to find people that were like me. I wanted to find other students. I wanted to find a group of students, by students, for students, to help students, primarily because I needed help. There was no group I could find, so I made one. 6 years later, my group has 4,400 members, 49 states, every field of expertise. What I stress all the time is to don't chase the deal, chase the relationship. And in my group, and in me introducing you to friends of mine like Lance and Jessie, getting better and more comfortable talking to others, sharing your number with people in my group, talking to people in my group, learning how to build rapport, learning what questions to ask, learning how to market yourself in a structured, safe environment. And as you do that, you'll get better at that. And as you get better at that, you'll become more confident. As you become more confident, you will become more successful. But most importantly, you'll take the skills that you master and that you create, and then you'll take them outside of the structured environment. Whether it be Gator, whether it be Sub 2, whether it be Astro, 7-figure flipping with Bill Allen's group. But it's important, as Pace always says, your vibe is your tribe. And to find the people that you resonate with, the people that like you, and people that resonate with you, that you like them. And that's the most important thing, is building your network before you need it. finding those people that are going to care about you. Find those people that are going to love you and like you for the same reason your family does. This is, call it marketing, whatever. This is what my group is about.
Yeah.
You are not by yourself. You are now 100%. Part of the family. Let me help you. Let me help you blow up your visibility. Let me help you build your confidence by building relationships. And when you have that, this becomes not only a gift, but a tool that you can wield like Thor's hammer and just knock walls down, because now your confidence will lead you to success. You can do this. You can do this.
I know.
Yeah.
She wanted to piggyback.
I love that so much. Actually, it's not quite a piggyback. It's a complete left field, but as the woman in this little quad right now, I just wanted to remind you to forgive yourself. This is our first time on this planet. It's your first time being a dad of a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. It's your first time in 24. Like, there's so many firsts for us, and we get caught up with that because we're like, I'm grown. I should know this by now. Forgive yourself. I spent a lot of time being very guilt-ridden because we had lost so many years with our children working those 16-hour days. Yeah. You can't change it. There's nothing I can do about it. I can pour into my grandson now that he's, small. He's 4. Our daughter had our grandson around the same time that you had your youngest. Yeah. And then, forgive other people. I myself tend to recluse sometimes when humans do the human thing, but that's life. It's just going to happen. Somebody will hurt you again. There's nothing you can do about that, but just forgive them. It's for you, not necessarily for them. Yeah. And that will help you go forward in business so much more. Stuff is going to happen and people are going to act like people. And sometimes, most of the time, that's really great. And sometimes, a little bit of the time, that's not a good thing. But just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And going back to JJ, that's another one of my struggles, trusting people in I've been not lately. Lately I'm softening up a little bit, but I always been, I don't need anybody. I've distanced myself from my old friendships and everything. And I take on myself and I can do it. But that only takes you so far.
Exactly. And that's why we want to we want to grow exponentially.
So now I'm trying to change it back.
Yeah, that's great. And I say, let's you and I become. I say it all the time. I want the most valuable thing you have. I want your friendship. Let's become friends first, and then let me help you. Because when you're my friend, I'm going to give you everything I have to help you with your business.
Yeah.
And all I want in exchange is the most valuable thing you have, which is your friendship.
Yep. I got to say something too. Like I wanted to throw this in earlier, but my wife wanted to talk, so I held on to it, tried to. But I wanted to just say that in my granite and tile business that I had, we worked with anyone that would walk in that front door. And oh man, there was some people I wish I would have never signed a contract with. I won't make that mistake again, right? I get to pick and choose who I work with. So you don't have to work with anybody, bro. You build the relationships with people that you jive with, the people that you align with, that you vibe with on the same level, man. That's what's cool about what we're doing here. And that's why JJ pushes it so hard to build the relationship first. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get into business with somebody you might not like, or that's not very on the up and up, that's not straight shooter, man. So we always build that relationship and we'll go on a little dating. Maybe we'll try something first. Even after we build that relationship, we're not just going to dive in and do a, partnership, form an LLC together. We're going to dip our foot in, do a deal together and see how that goes. And then maybe form an alliance. But it's so important that you know that you don't have to do business with anybody. You do business with people that you choose to do business with.
Exactly. You want to screen your network as you build your network. You don't accept every single person that sends you a friend request because they're in your educational group. You need to see who you resonate with. For example, one of the things I say is when I pick my guest speakers, I look to see who's visibly successful in the landscape and I reach out to them, see who wants to get to know me, who is receptive of my friendship that I'm extending. And if they are, by all means, come on in and let me promote you, let me showcase you, let me tell the world about you. But I've gone to approach many people, well, a handful, that are very successful. They're on stage. They're promoted by the leaders of an educational community that says these people represent what I've done, and I've reached out to these successful people. And they basically said, no, I don't want to speak on your call, which means I don't want to become your friend. I don't want to get to know you. So to me, it doesn't matter how many deals they've done. Doesn't matter how much money they have. Doesn't matter how successful they are. Doesn't matter who's promoting them to what extreme. If I don't resonate with them, if they don't resonate with me, we're not doing business together. I'm going to find the people that I like and the people that I like that like me. Again, one of the basic thing is your vibe is your tribe. Find the people you resonate with. Lance and Jessie, I love them. They resonate with me. They are my family.
Awesome.
Right? And that's what you'll find. And as Jessie says, forgive yourself. Don't worry about the things that have happened before, because we've all made mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes. I still make mistakes.
Right.
You know, but as we move forward now with a newer mindset to building relationships, now light bulbs are going on and we're seeing things that we didn't see before. You know, and I now see, as I hear you speak more, and this is the second, third Zoom call you've been on with me, I know you're somebody that I want to help. I know you're somebody that I want to give my friendship to. I know you're someone that I want to see become successful. So let's build our relationship. Let's build our friendship, and let me watch you grow.
Appreciate that, man.
Shelly Wren, how are you, Shelly? You're on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Hey.
I'm good. First of all, Lance, thank you so much for giving me a little message to join this whole group. I'm just God, I'm about to cry. I'm so emotional and blown away at everybody's stories because I feel the same way. You know, I overthink and I think, I think sometimes I try to do too much at once and it winds up going nowhere. And I try to do everything in a short amount of time because I have a day job and my husband has one too. And he works a lot longer. He's a truck driver. He delivers cases of food all day. So he's, exhausted when he gets home. Yet we push ourselves to do the real estate, what we need to do before we go to, in the few hours that we have.
Yeah.
But I mean, the confidence, I think I'm trying to start it. It's getting better. Talking to people is kind of like, it can be a little hard because I'm a shy person and, the self-esteem sometimes can be kind of rough, but it really is. And I don't want to, I guess my inner critic is in there going, don't sound like an idiot when you're talking to people, it's like, and then that part of me kind of sometimes takes over. And then I try not to let that come to fruition, but sometimes it seems like it does. But
if you knew how many phone calls I bombed and hung up, and the good news is if you really, really mess up a phone call, just don't ever call them again. Yeah. Somebody else is going to call them and pick up their deal. It's okay. There are so many deals out there. You're going to be able to practice, and you don't have to know everything, and mistakes are going to be made. And it's, just like I told John, like, that's how you learn, I'm a chronic overthinker, ask my husband, unless I'm like jumping off a bridge into a river, unless I'm doing something wild, adrenaline fun. Yeah, picking up the phone and doing other stuff like that. I absolutely have had times where I, overthunk and till I didn't do it. Thought too much. Overthunk.
Overthunk.
That's the word
Love it.
today.
That's it.
But got myself right out of it, but the best way to overcome that is just by doing it, getting on there, be a little silly, you don't have to know all the fancy words.
You don't have to know. What is Pace always says, one of my favorite things he says it all the time. People are like, oh, this might sound like a stupid question. What does he say to that? What's his response? There are no stupid questions, right? Let me just point something out real quick too. You had the courage to raise your hand and hop on in front of all these people.
Yeah.
Most of the people didn't do that. You're putting yourself out there. You're doing what you need to do. It doesn't imperfect action trumps inaction every single day of the week. I can tell you that for a fact. Yeah. You can sit there and hide in the back with your camera off all day long, or you can get up here with your camera on and do what you did. So I applaud you. You're doing amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my question actually was, if I can ask one, what is the difference? Because my partner and I, she's in Arizona, we want to do pad splits, and I really want to help veterans and the homeless, because nobody in this country should live on the streets. And that really, I just don't understand it. Why in the USA, why people that shouldn't be a thing. People should have a bed to sleep in.
110%.
So what is, because I know that pad split charges 8%. And what is the difference between, do you managing it yourself? Do you think it's better to manage it yourself over having pad split do it for you?
So a couple of things there. First off, pad split restructured. It was 15%. Okay. Now we just had a meeting with them a couple of days ago since they opened, meeting with them again Monday to probably sign up with them. But you can put your own rules in place and do your co-livings the way you want. They just come in and help get tenants and everything. So that's one cool thing. But they went from 15% to the first 10 days, or no, the first
10 days.
Yeah, the first 10 days of every tenant, they get all of that cash flow, and then it's 8% after that. So you want longer term tenants, you don't want a monthly turnover, because then you're going to lose your ass, right? But just from what our experience on our first two deals, 100% hire somebody like Pat, or get an operator who's very experienced with you. I would not recommend trying to go out and do it on your own. It's been a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety for us. I can just tell you, we stumbled through it and we're getting there, but it's been a pretty painful process. It's not for the faint of heart. Most people, I think, would have quit or thrown in the towel at this point, but we don't do that. But we're learning, and we're like, okay, we don't want to do this again. But I wanted to learn for myself, right? But it's a lot. It's a lot of work, a lot of moving parts. So the other thing is, if it's in your market, if you want to manage it and walk people through and get them signed up on leases, that's definitely more doable than trying to do it long distance, which is what we've been doing. So,
well, she lives there, so she kind of is going to overlook everything. She's wanting to, I think it was $75 a person is what she was going to charge to manage the place. So, because that way, I don't know if that's fair or what. I mean,
that's a really odd way to charge. I would say.
Well, yeah,
I've never heard that. But
I don't want to get into the weeds with that. If it's a partnership, I would definitely say, as long as each side is bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
But if both sides,
I can see that being an accounting nightmare, trying to figure those numbers out. I would just do a flat percentage. That I don't know how you would keep track of something like that.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of odd, but I mean, I thought, she said that she wanted to do that until we could get a manager, like when we get more than one property going and we get, enough to where we could hire somebody to do it for us.
And you're talking to who's this person you're referring to? Someone who's going to operate it for you or run it?
Yeah, she's in this sub 2 group with us.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if
I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a lot of.
No names.
No, I don't need to know names, but I'm just saying there's a lot of questions around that,
Yeah.
that I would have. So it probably too many for here, but I would want to know that she's experienced managing stuff. I would want to know that she's got connections, can handle construction crews, can handle, getting cleaning supplies and doing all, making sure she can coordinate all that stuff. A lot of people aren't cut out for managing stuff like that. So you could make a huge mistake or it would be a win. I don't know. It's hard to say, I would want to see some experience personally on some kind of management.
I mean, she's got one pad split and that's it. She manages that one, and the way she complains sometimes, it seems like it's a nightmare for her.
That would be a good sign for me.
That would be a good sign. And, I would also throw in there, don't chase the deal. Deals come and deals go. Sometimes the best deal is the one you walk away from. So what you really want to do, get to know this person before you get into bed with them.
Yeah.
If you're getting the feel that it sounds like that a lot of what they're doing is a problem for them, as Lance says, that might be the best clue that you need. But what you also really want to do is get to know that person.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. I'll buy a house for anyone where the numbers make sense. I'll sell a house to anyone whose money clears escrow. But if I'm going to be your joint venture partner or your private money lender where you need to account to me for my money or I need to account to you for your money, I need to know that person has a heart, character, integrity, the financial, not the financial, but the fiber to withstand the storm. Is this someone that I would have into my home with my kids and my grandkids, my parents and my grandparents? Do I trust them? Do I get that feeling of security? Because if not, I'm not doing business with them. There are plenty of people out there to choose from, plenty of people to select from, which is why you need to build your network before you need it and get good at screening people, get good at talking to people. And you're talking about, how do I do that? Don't focus on buyers and sellers. Right now, get to know your community. Get used to know what questions to ask. How do you build rapport? How do you establish commonality? These are the things. These are the integral parts of just getting to know who you're going to do business with. So that's just my take on that, because
No, I completely understand. I mean, I've got some people that I talk to on a somewhat regular basis. Her and we have Zooms and stuff like that. And our friendship is growing. So she's a good person.
Okay. I would say, Kelly,
if she wasn't, I would have not kept
Kelly,
going.
stick around for after the recording. Don't go when we stop recording. I'm going to turn you on some other aspects on how you could leverage this group to build your network, build your business, build your confidence, and build your, foundation of your business. Shelley, we're going to run to one more question. Lance and Jessie will, at the end of the call, say how people can follow up with them if you want to connect them with more information. And do not go away after you stop the recording. I'm going to share some great stuff with you. Eddie, you were on with Lance and Jessie. What's your question?
Well, shout out to you guys for getting into pad split in a new market. I'm pad split number 13 in KCMO. So it was really great to get on originally. Yeah. And so it's cool. Once it gets oversaturated, like right now, I've been for the past month at like 50% occupancy and haven't really had anyone come in. So now I'm thinking about moving on, since I can't just go, like I have a VA across the street. There's a couple of things I think I could do on my own, but like the first few months, it was pretty great. And also the people that I've had that were early adopters, most people I find stay. Like if they're consistent people, they stay. And like I've had one since May and another one since like July and things like that. Other ones had to, were there for about 3 months, things like that. 2 people got weird, and I was like, "Hey guys, you got to go because you're being weird." But it's really, but again, pretty cool concept, things like that. My question to you guys is, because you said you moved different businesses, things like that. As a couple, how did you how would you talk to your partner about, hey, I think we're going to move on from this to that or whatever?
Great question. When your partner has a mental breakdown, that's a good sign. I'm just going to throw that out there. No, she was miserable at the other spot, and I really wasn't hip to it. She was a good actor. She was hiding it a lot. So I would say communication is really, really key. Really knowing how to communicate with your partner on their level, not on your level. That was a big missing component for me. I didn't really know how to communicate in her love language, right? Like, I didn't know how to ask the right questions. I just was so focused on what I was doing. I kind of lost sight a little bit. I wasn't as sensitive as I should have been. And so, really asking questions. I'm going to reference a book for you. It's called How to Listen with Intention by Patrick King. I reference this book every single week, and I will for the rest of my life. It literally saved my marriage and changed my life. And so it's a very powerful book. If you have any kind of narcissistic tendencies, or you controlling, or conversation, you have to control the conversation. You have to have the last, last hurrah in the argument, then listen to that book.
Okay.
It was amazing. I found that I had a tendency to want to fix everything and control, thought I had control, right? So I would listen to my solution to the problem, and I wouldn't listen to what she was saying. And that was a huge, huge problem for me.
So last thing, which one were you more like? What level did you get to with the either? What was it? You said fortune. What one was better for you as far as like the networking goes? What'd you say? You did a couple of MLMs and then fortune finders. Like what was it before you left? Which one was like, hey, this is pretty great? Or
so the very first MLM I joined was JJ's podcast. That's where it all really came together. It was when I joined JJ's first show. No, it was Amway, right? So what happened when I joined Amway? That was my first introduction to networking, really, ever in my life. I started reading books. I started networking. I started going to events, and I was scared to death, bro. I was not that guy, but I caught the vision. That flame was lit in me, that entrepreneurial vision. I was like, what? Like, these people are getting rich. So I started reading the books. I started getting around the people, going to the events. That's where it all started, And I just, every opportunity I got after that, I did probably 6 of those businesses throughout the years. But I ended up joining the Chamber of Commerce with my granite company. So we were members of the chamber for a lot of years. We would go to their greeters, their weekly meetings, right? Where you meet other entrepreneurs, other business owners, other managers, and just push yourself constantly. I had to get up in a microphone. I still am not great at it. I'm pushing myself still, dude. Like, anytime I get a microphone, I kind of nut up and I'm like, ugh. And so it's tough still for me. We're going to speak in Austin next month at 2 meetups, actually, one in New Braunfels and one in Austin that we've been invited to, a couple sub 2 meetups, but that's something that we've been doing more of. So those types of things, just constantly pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. That's really what it's all about.
All right, cool. All right, man. All right. Thank you.
Eddie, let me throw something at you. You're going to learn something everywhere, right? You're going to learn things from relationships. You're going to learn things from places of employment. You're going to learn things from every education group that you come across, from people that you meet. I was not great at relationships. I was not great at marketing myself. I was not great because I was an introvert. I was shy. I didn't want to talk to people because I thought if I opened myself up, I was going to get hurt. But I found out the hard way that I had to battle through that. And I've come from one extreme to the other. As you go forward in life, it's a matter of polishing up the things that you do, the things that I'm trying to do most. I mean, Lance was already talented before he met me. Jessie was already sharp as a whistle before they met me. I've introduced Lance to a couple of things that Lance, a couple other people have run with the things that I've laid out for everyone. And Lance is running with it better than anybody else has. He's got the biggest group now of anyone else that's come through my path. He's got the most visibility of anyone that I've spoken to. He's now teaching and training and leading by example. Lance has done better than anybody else that I've had the pleasure to share my tips and tricks with.
Thank you.
But what I'm saying is, in order to build your business, it's about building your brand, building your visibility, building relationships, and I'll throw modesty out the window. Paces call me the best networker in the country. I will gladly take that moniker. I don't think anybody comes close to me. If they do, I'd like to meet them and become friends with them. As Lance has grown and become more successful, more powerful, we're becoming closer friends. We're sharing constantly. I'd say, whether it's my group or Lance's group, because they're similar in many regards. Let me help you to learn how to market yourself. You're ADP. You've got your brand already, right? But let's now make that wider. Let's make that more visible. Let's escalate your visibility so everybody knows you.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we do that? What questions do we ask? How do we post? How do we comment? How do we interact with others? What do we talk about? For those who are watching on YouTube, I like to think I'm sharing a little bit of what I call business communications and interpersonal relations in regard to real estate and social media. Nobody else is sharing that. Lance probably more than anybody else I know is sharing that. So you now have, on the four of us, Lance, Jessie, myself, and you have exposure now to two different groups of people, his group and my group, that can vastly impact the acceleration of your success. Participate, be visible, build relationships, and you will be astounded on how quickly everything you do grows exponentially. That's what I was trying to get.
Okay.
A lot of the education groups, they're selling their education, but they'll tell you to network, but they don't tell you how.
Yeah.
That's the point I was trying to make, which is probably a great way to sum up the call. Did we answer your question?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to see you again. Thank you for joining us. Man, we had a long call today, guys, but freaking talking about gold nuggets, you guys killed it.
Thanks, man.
You guys killed it. I say it all the time. If the value's coming out, I try and cut things some short, keep things from getting into an hour-long coaching program with one call. Yeah. But the value you guys you brought was outstanding. And without even waiting for a phone call later, you killed it. Jessie, you're outstanding. Lance, you're outstanding. Love you guys. Love you guys.
Thank you so much, Jake.
We love you, brother.
Two last questions. If people want to reach out to you, whether they're on the call now, whether they're watching on YouTube weeks or months down the line, what is the best way to reach you?
Great question. At Lance Riggen on my Instagram account. You can find me at Lance Riggen, right? I am my brand, like you've taught me, right? And so on Facebook, my phone number is right here, 903-527-7778. We're in East Texas. Reach out anytime.
If you guys are on the call right now or even watching on YouTube, please message Lance on Instagram. Please follow him, support him, message him, let him know that you were on the call. Yeah. Those are the two best ways, guys, to follow up with Lance and Jessie. That and their phone number. Their phone number for their business is again 903-527-7778. Again, guys, thank you so much. The last thing I have for you, we've touched on this question throughout the call. We've woven this throughout everything we've talked about today. But again, you guys have become really successful. You become leaders in the community. You guys have become role models as a husband, as a wife, as a couple, as investors, leaders in the community, Paces community. I talk about networking all the time. And after a while, I get tuned out. I feel like I do. But for two people that have grown and overcome hurdles and challenges and become very successful in your own right, all the investors that are coming to these educational communities, right? They're coming in every day. Some are brand new at real estate, some are very experienced, but they're coming to social media platforms because every education group has a Facebook page for their community. So they're now coming to social media. A lot of them have used Facebook before, junior high school. I've had a page for years. But now they're using it as a business tool. What is the importance of learning how to use social media to further the success of one's business?
Wow. That's a great question. It is crucial. I'm going to say, if you're not networking and if you're not branding yourself on social media, you're going to take a lot longer. You're on the slow track. You're on dial-up. versus high-speed internet, basically. If you want to really ramp things up and get really serious and move the needle much faster, you've got to brand yourself on social media. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to get consistent in posting and doing a lot of the things that JJ's just taught you on this Zoom. The only thing that sets me apart, I'm not anything special. I took what he taught me on his Zooms and what Pace talks about, and I ran with it, and I just showed up every single day and I did it. And I changed my page to the professional page. Right now I can see the algorithm, so now I geek out on it. If my numbers are dipped down, I get right on there and I'm like, oh, I gotta post more reels, more stories, more of this, and so it's crucial to growth. If you want that financial freedom, if you desire to travel the world, to live the RV lifestyle, to spend more time with your family, you got to get on the social media platforms. You have to do it. If you don't do it, in my opinion, you're not serious. So. Yeah.
And I'm going to date myself a little bit. Caleb, you might not know, my nephew is on here. Yeah. You might not understand this, but for the rest of everyone in here, hopefully it makes sense. Do you remember when you'd get a phone call and it was no call ID? You weren't answering that. You were only answering calls that you knew the number to. It's very similar. If you go to somebody's social media page and you can't find out anything about them or where they are, nowadays we don't even know if that's a real person, if the profile was created 10 minutes ago. Yeah. So you want to be visible because you need to be able to reach people. They need to be able to see who you are. It's very similar to that phone call. If they see your number pop up, they're going to answer it because they know who you are.
Damn, she's good.
Jesse, you are so dead right on that. We had a young person on earlier on the call before we started the recording who had no cover photo, nothing in the intro, nothing in the bio. And they said, well, I don't really use Facebook. That I have my Facebook page where I'm commenting in the group. But as you said, people are going to go to your page to see how you're presenting yourself as an investor. And if your Facebook page becomes your digital business card to the world to let people know who you are and that you're serious. And if you don't have your Facebook page built out to depict you as a real estate investor and different things in there that allow people to see the commonality that you have with them, same school, same neighborhood, same education program. Oh my God, they've got LinkedIn, they've got Instagram. Oh, you use your page to market yourself. You do not market your business, you market yourself. Your personal Facebook page becomes your digital business card to the world. And by not having it dressed out to market you as an investor, you're committing suicide to your business.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're just stifling any possibility for people to want to do business with you. So
yep, 100% agree. It's like, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I agree with you. It's lazy. And if you're that lazy, you're not serious. And I'm not going to waste my time probably talking to you, so.
Yeah, that's key. Hey guys, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Again, if you want to catch up with Lance and Jessie, the business number is 903-527-7778. If you'd like to join my group, guys, click this link here. It takes you to my website. There's a post-setting register now button. Over here, I've got my Instagram link and, the address from my website. Please come back and join us. Join Lance, Jessie, what's the name of your group? You got a Facebook group. What's the name of your group?
Yeah, well, it's the Creative Collective. Right, that's the group. Yeah. So
and you're continuing to grow, continue to do new things, and we're going to follow your path, follow your direction, and we're going to support you in every way. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're on the call, do not go away. We got more. I have something come up for you after we get off the recording. If you guys are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Please look for more videos coming up from Flip Side Up with JJ. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my network. Lance, Jessie, we'll see them all later in the world of social media, right?
Yeah. Rock and roll, baby.
Over now, guys. Thanks again for joining us.